Content presented in Cheshire Corners is for educational and informational purposes only. Please consult a legal professional if you have any questions or concerns about the content of this disclaimer, this series, or the legal implications surrounding psychedelic substances in your jurisdiction.
Hello, welcome to Cheshire Corners. My name is Rita Tsaluk. I will be your host as we trip through the looking glass. I did put my pink glasses on, rose glasses on.
Rose gold glasses.
So, because I just recently watched some news, and I do believe that I need rose glasses to take this day on with this everything that's going on in the world.
Israeli officials say they intercepted a long-range...
We're talking about heavy missiles.
We must uphold the UN Charter.
Fired some 300 rockets.
And I would like to introduce you our new guest. The reason I invite Dom here, because of, stories that you all know, that people who actually know how to get things done right, like running a government, already have professions. They working as a taxi driver and hairdressers. Dom is my hairdresser. So this is all because of him. And he's working at Pantana Salon in Denver. And I think he's doing a great job on my hair. But he's not just hairdresser. He's way more. You're going to hear him and you will understand why people saying that taxi drivers and hairdressers know more. You will know for sure. Dom, welcome.
Thank you for having me here. My name is Dom, or Dominic Mohammed. And yes, I do work at a Montana salon in DTC. And I do like that you said that you had some news in today was a day that you wanted to wear your rose-colored glasses. It's almost like the metaphor. Sometimes you have to look at life through different lenses.
And here at Cheshire Corners, we're trying to look at the world through psychedelic lenses.
Yes.
So, tell us a little bit about yourself. Tell us which school you go to. Did you go to hairdresser school? Or how did you become hairdresser? And how did you start liking psychedelics?
Well, it's been quite the journey as far as that goes. I didn't start my career as a hairdresser. I was a teacher at the University of Nebraska for about 3.5 years. Actually, that is within school is when I actually tried mushrooms for the first time, and then microdosed all the way throughout. And at that time, it was kind of seen as it kind of catches people, it kind of caught people off guard. So I kind of had to do that in secret, because I knew that internally I knew that I felt better, and overall I felt like it just helped the process of learning for me, and retention a lot more. I'm the oldest of 7. I'm from Lincoln, Nebraska. And growing up, it was a very religious family. So a lot of, anything outside of, any substance of any kind that's not really water or food or drink was kind of shunned upon. So I kind of did all of that in my own exploratory ways. And my family owns a barbershop. And after 3.5 years of teaching, my dad came to me and wanted me to take over the barbershop or help out. So that's what brought me into hair school, and that was in Lincoln. And then it ended up taking a liking to it, and it's kind of taken hold, and I've been doing it ever since.
Very cool. But let me just ask you a few details on it that you skipped. What did you teach in college?
Applied physics.
Applied physics.
Yeah.
Because I haven't seen many hairdressers with applied physics degree.
Yeah.
But you studied applied physics first before you start teaching it.
Yeah, a lot of my colleagues thought I was going through a midlife crisis.
You too young to go through midlife crisis. This
I know,
was
no,
maybe
I know, quarter life or whatever.
crisis. Yeah, but since Stanislav Grof saying that we start having crisis when we're still in the womb, then that explains it. You just had your regular crisis.
Yeah, I feel like people view that they're going through crisis when you're going through changes faster than they expect you to be going through them. So for me, I'm used to change. I think I almost thrive in change. So if that, I don't know, it kind of helped me. I think change helps me understand life way more than what's average of like pick a path and stay on it. I'm the person that takes little journeys off the path and then so I think that's been the culmination of my life. I've had a lot of things like that have brought me from left to right.
Those people who wander around like Cheshire cat, they once in a while getting into psychedelics because it just that kind of makes sense.
And not all those who wander are lost. But I get that.
I'll take my pink glasses, my rose glasses out
Rose gold glasses.
because I think start feeling good about this day. And I can start looking at the world just through the psychedelic lenses. Okay, so tell us about your first psychedelic trip.
I think the best way to frame that would be the person guiding it. So one of my close friends, they're both engineers. They're both engineers that I was in the dorms with. So anything that they kind of said or did, I kind of took with more of it had more of a foundation because they're thinkers about everything, and I'm a thinker about everything. So when my friend Fernando came into the dorm one day and was like, "Hey, have you ever tried mushrooms?" It hit different. I was able to accept it better than hearing it from somebody that I was just walking across, like down the street from, which I've heard that plenty of times from. So he offered, and we all were going to do it at the same time or try it at the same time. And I felt something that I didn't really feel at that point in time because I've lived a lot of my life so rigid, and feeling when the onset of it came, and I think it was at that point that I realized that there was a lot more to myself that I didn't understand, and therefore the world I didn't understand, and it was guided pretty well. I think that was the big thing.
Who guided it?
My friend Fernando, because he has a lot of experience with these kinds of things, and had a lot of experience at that point with these kinds of things with psilocybin.
How long was the trip?
Well, it wasn't a microdose. It was about 8-9 hours.
Wow.
The actual peak of the trip, I would say, was about 2.5.
Was it scary?
Surprisingly, no. I think maybe in another environment where I felt like maybe the controls weren't there, but I feel like there were a good set of control factors there. The whole set and setting were great.
This goes to set and setting.
So, and we had the freedom of changing location and changing the scenery at will, because we could we're on campus and it was beautiful. So it was great. There wasn't really a fear base. I think there was more of like the, whoa, what is this coming on? More of the confusion at first, but it didn't really incite any fear. Yeah.
So there was 3 of you. One of you knew what he's doing, but what's the other one?
The other one, Charlie was his nickname, but he was pretty open to these things he's pretty open to most things that are scientifically not wrong, like negative, that doesn't have like long-term negative effects, was the huge thing that we all were interested in. So once we kind of got into the understanding of whatever happens with this, it's not going to be forever. And I think that's the big thing, is understanding that whatever that you're feeling through psilocybin, and it's not, am I going to be like this forever?
Forever, forever, ever, forever, ever.
No. So, but if it's not a forever thing, then he's in.
Got you.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that's very important that you had that guide who
Yeah.
told you it will go away.
Yeah.
It will pass.
That
Whatever
was-
is going to happen, it will pass.
Yeah.
So cool.
Yeah.
So you tried it once and you feel like you felt like you're ready for a change.
It wasn't until, honestly, the whole time that it was that I was feeling what I was feeling from the psilocybin, it wasn't until after everything passed, and it was early in the morning because we took a higher dose, and I had the luxury of it still being a Sunday the following day. So after resting and really in the waking up and processing everything, is when I realized that a change had happened.
Did you do any integration with anybody or with yourself?
It started with just myself, and then later on that day, because he slept all day, was when we all came together and talked about it. Yeah,
So
we talked about it, talked through it, and I had a lot of questions because like this was before this I never drank, smoked, anything. No substance beyond a quite healthy diet. I mean, I ran track in college, so I had to have a clean temple, and that also came from my religion, which I feel like the feelings that I was feeling almost, I wouldn't say at that time clashed with it, but it just left me with a lot of questions. But it wasn't until he came back and we all talked about it, and we kind of got more philosophical with it. I don't know. I was reaching and trying to figure out where these feelings came from that I wasn't aware of, or that were new. But yeah, we talked through it.
So after that, you didn't start just drinking, taking heroin,
No.
and gambling?
No,
No,
I still have my convictions. I actually didn't start drinking until I didn't have my first drink. I wouldn't say drinking because I feel like that just insinuates like going wild. But I didn't actually have my first sip of alcohol until years later, and that was situational. I was like a glass of wine with this meal.
Okay, so mushrooms not making you alcoholic.
No.
Oh, it's haven't been an issue for you.
No.
And mushrooms didn't make it worse for sure.
No.
Did they make anything worse?
I wouldn't even say worse, but when you experience things that it made me question more. And I feel like in some instances, I feel like life became different when more questions were asked, because I feel like you just start peeling back the onion. And so I wouldn't say worse, I would say different.
Different.
Yeah.
Not easy. Or easy.
Life itself didn't change, but my thought process changed. How I would think about things and how deeply I would go into them changed. So I would say easier in some ways, because when you realize that when you realize how far the onion goes, you realize how small some problems are and how big some others are. So I would say it was a healthy dose of both. Yeah.
Got you. So that was the first time. And after that, you tried several times after that, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Why would you do it?
I did one larger dose after that, maybe like a week or two. And then I started to microdose. That's when I learned that like you didn't have to be feeling it to feel it, you know? Like you didn't have to have a large amount to have significant
What do you consider
effects.
microdose? How small or big has to be micro?
I mean anywhere from like a tenth less than the average amount that makes people trip, or like I would say the average for trip is like 2.5 to 3, well 2.5 to 3.5 grams.
So you took microdose for what? You tried to cure something like mood stabilizer or anything for wellness, or you just for curiosity?
At that time, there wasn't really an explanation for like I know that by school standards that I'm intelligent, but internally there's things like at that time my attention to detail took extra mental work. But whenever it did get there, flawless, I felt. But I wanted to be able to kind of rein in my thought, like how I think or how I thought, and streamline it so that I can get tasks done more efficiently. And honestly, it was just more exploratory because no one really told me that this does this. It was more so I wonder, because how I thought when I was under the influence of psilocybin, everything just seemed like my thoughts, I didn't seem to have to run to them or they weren't running from me. I seemed to have I felt like at that time, there was nothing backing this up. I wasn't watching any videos. But I felt like my thoughts seemed more streamlined. Things seemed to just be there, like at the ready. My thinking, I just felt like it was more fluid.
So maybe we can phrase it, and you enjoyed neuroplasticity?
Yes. That is a much simpler way to use all of those words.
And then you went to that rabbit hole, going to the Wonderland.
For the trip, yes. For the higher dose.
For the higher doses.
Yeah.
But even
the lower
even
doses, it wasn't
microdoses.
really a wonderland.
Did you see that movie Limitless?
I have.
You have.
I have.
So,
I didn't actually see that movie until after this happened. And God, I wish I had these messages still. But I saw that movie. Just there was nothing that no one told me or urged me to watch it. I just happened to fall into it, and I started to get about a third of the way in, and I messaged my friend, and I was like, "Hey, have you ever seen this movie?" He's like, "No." I was like, "I need you to see this because this is how I felt the first time." I was like trying to explain that to him, and without him watching it. And I waited a few hours because he said he was going to watch it right now because he was free, and then we had a nice little conversation about it. So yeah, it does kind of make you feel like.
And then I like
possible.
how in the end of that movie, he kind of went through the integration process and was able to function like this without any substances. Yep. It just kind of...
unlocking the mind.
Mm-hmm. Weirdly, because nobody thinks that it's possible. I never tried any mushrooms and I never tried any psychedelics, but after depression, I went to SSRI. And I'm not supposed to have any euphoria, and I'm not supposed to have, well, some people saying maybe neuroplasticity, but I feel it, just like Limitless. Oh my God, it's so good. I'm afraid to go off my dose.
Can you explain that or that process a little more?
People saying SSRIs shouldn't do this for you. Mm-hmm. SSRIs should kind of calm you down. Yeah. It does calm me down on anxieties. Like my husband would go, "Oh my God, we have a leak. One tenant had a water." Not going. So it's fine. It's gonna be just fine. We'll figure it out. But more than that, I feel like I see way from point A to point B clearly.
Clear. Yeah.
And I know that this is what's going to happen. It's like, this is what's going to happen. This is where I need to go. Maybe it's the wrong direction, but it makes me feel that it's the right direction.
Yeah.
Makes me feel that I'm taking, I feel confident about my decisions, feel good about myself because of my decisions. They all look so smart to me. And kind of world looks clear and happy.
Yeah. You're explaining literally what I felt.
That's why I'm thinking maybe serotonin has to do with all of it. But someday somebody will figure out what's actually happening with all of us. Yeah. But until then, before that, we're going to have January 1st of 2025.
Yes.
So what do you think? What are we going to do here in Colorado in January 1st, 2025?
Well, I feel like it's going to be a new frontier.
Space, the final frontier.
And I feel like it's been happening for a long time already, but in secrecy and behind closed doors. And I feel like when that time comes and people don't have to think about what the repercussions are of deeper studies into it, it's good. There's going to be some groundbreaking work coming down the pipeline.
You know, I have this company that we're starting called Almadelic. That's a platform for therapists, facilitators, prescribers, and patients and customers connect. So we were trying to figure out some marketing, and we were searching for keywords in states. And in Colorado, people searching for psychedelics and searching for psychedelic therapy and ketamine-assisted therapy and other things, way more than they would search somewhere in Ohio, for example. Mm-hmm. So I think when they're going to open it in January 25, there's going to be so much energy going to it.
The floodgates will open.
I feel like floodgates going to open. We'll see, because it feels like now to a bunch of people in the industry or kind of trying to be around the industry, like this is not a date yet. Mm-hmm. This is a day before the date.
Yep.
So everybody's way excited about it.
Yeah. I mean, I was just talking to another person about this today, Jonathan. The waiting at the floodgate is kind of it's so evident. Went out. I was walking down the street in the Rhino district last weekend, and they're handing out mushrooms for donation, and it's such a weird feeling knowing that that we are this close to. Honestly, I feel like it's in a sense a kind of a revolution, but it's a revolution of the mind, and I feel like we're going to see some really, really good things come out of this, and a lot of confusion as well, because I feel like the more you lean towards, or the more that society lean towards the possibilities of an open mind, it kind of shakes things up.
I think we're ready for a little shake-up.
Yeah?
We're ready for that.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
We need it.
I think this reminds me of when different by all means, but when LSD was back in the 70s. Mm-hmm. There was fear of LSD being spread because it changed how people think, and one of the big reasons why it was seen as a problem is it once people had those experiences, they didn't want to go in for the draft. They realized that why are we fighting? Why are we fighting? Like what's
if we all won, what are we doing?
Yeah, exactly. So I feel like in so many good ways, it's going to shake things up for the positive. But I feel like we're also going to see some pushback from age-old ways that want to, keep things how they are.
It's always this way.
Yeah. But I feel like what the most profound thing that you can change is someone's mind.
Yeah, so January 1st comes. What are you planning to do after January 1st?
Honestly, rejoice with a lot of my close friends that have been waiting for this to happen since forever. I mean, since as long as I've known them, as long as I've known about psychedelics, it's going to be a lot of celebration, and then it's going to be a lot of comforting and standing by the people that have not been able to enjoy this kind of enjoy psilocybin, for example, because of the fear of they're doing something wrong, so.
But we right now at the coffee joint. Yeah. It's a licensed social consumption lounge for cannabis. You can come consume cannabis here and say, I have a license to do this. It's not like just I can, and not like because nobody's looking and it's decriminalized. I have a license to do this. And a lot of people enjoyed that feeling here.
Yeah. I remember I came here shortly after, I came to Colorado. This is my 7th year here. Shortly after the weed boom came, and it felt almost utopian, because in Nebraska, these policies, far from it, and coming here and being able to see people, you can just tell that people were happier just without the weight of, is someone watching me? It was okay to just be. And I feel like with January state coming around, I feel like it's going to be another wave of that. And I hope these waves keep continuing.
Are you planning to do something like study, doing facilitations,
I would like to get deep into it. Mm-hmm. And now without the weight of that, I don't know, it's like stealing cookies from the cookie jar and realizing that you can just reach in when anyone's around and grab them.
Yeah. I have a cookie.
Yeah. It's just I'm excited for this. I'm excited for it.
So there's 8 companies already approved for training. They haven't approved any facilitators. It's coming like maybe this month. That you're gonna apply for facilitator license, maybe not. I'm not sure exactly, but for training, already 8 companies approved curriculum. They go kind of expensive. They like between $6,000 and $12,000.
Well, they're gonna make their money.
But see, in Oregon, what happened? There is actually too many facilitators in Oregon. I don't know what's going to happen in Colorado, but in Colorado they have much better laws than they do have in Oregon.
Yeah, they do.
In Oregon, they not allow you to be therapist and to be a facilitator at the same time. You have to take one hat, put another hat. I think it's just so confusing. We all wearing so many hats. We all have at least a human hat here. And in Colorado, you can be both, and you can be clinical facilitator. So you can be therapist.
I didn't know that.
Yep. And you can be facilitator at the same time. Or you can be nurse practitioner, psychiatric nurse practitioner, and a therapist at the same time. You can go to people's houses and do facilitation there. Although if you read the regulations of how you're going to do it, you probably don't want to go to people's houses. You'd rather go to healing centers because it's going to be easier.
Where your control is better.
It's just, you have to do video and everything else. In healing center, you're going to go and everything's set up.
Yeah.
And it's probably they're just going to rent the rooms, and it's not going to be that big of a deal.
Yeah.
And I think there's going to be a bunch of retreats, and people will come from all over the world and take it here legally. Here, I have a cookie. And then go back to wherever they're at and still maybe integrate. So at some point,
and the seed spread.
They'll say, I don't need to have a drug anymore. I know how to get there from point A to point B. I already have this neuroplasticity. I know how it feels, and I can recreate it again over and over again. So we had here before Ori Goldstein. He is a hypnotizer. He's hypnotherapist.
An evolution coach, actually.
Evolution coach. And he's also doing, in Jamaica, retreats with psychedelics. And, the people, bunch of people coming to Jamaica to do those retreats. Now they're going to come here. Because we were discussing with Ori here that psychedelics kind of training you and telling you that you can create reality. This is weird feeling, but it's also, it's not traditional with materialistic views. There is another view coming around, but you feel like you can create reality.
Well, it's not adding something that's not there. I feel like that feeling of being able to create reality. It's already there. It's already there in your head, and I feel like the things that you go through in life almost dulls it. It almost reminds you, because it doesn't plant something that's not there.
Right. Yep. So we were practicing here how to create reality, because I don't know how you do it. Tell me how you create reality. I already told everybody how I create reality. I'm just kind of closing my eyes or not, and I'm thinking, what's going to happen in January 2025? Okay, those companies going to open, people will come, and I'm looking in step by step, and if I can see it clearly, step by step, what's going to happen, then I can see that reality is created that way. Is that how you do it?
It's similar. I would say that with enough willpower, with anything, positive or negative, that you put your mind to, you're gonna obtain that. You're gonna obtain that whether it's good or bad. But a lot of that is putting that energy, that thought process, that there's a saying, speak it into existence. That is quite true, because when you're speaking it, you're thinking about it, and your thoughts really do control. I mean, that's why we have everything that we even have in this room. At some point, someone was like, "Hey, how do we bring the light in here?" I mean, it's everything is I feel it is that way. It's just a matter of how much mind that you put to it, and how much you want to water that seed that's already been inside of your brain that you want to come out. And so, yeah, no, I would say it's similar. It's the same. It's all the same.
Cool. So we'll wait for January 25, when our reality just going to be a little bit more colorful and brighter, when we're going to try to peel the onion deeper, and we'll see where we're going to get there. When at some point we're going to become very cool, very free, very knowledgeable, and our higher-ups will think as deep as our hairdressers. Thank you so much, guys. I appreciate you listening, and I hope you liked it. So please put your like, please put your comment. And your comments also help in YouTube algorithm, and would like to answer them. Tell me if you like this video and if you like to do more of those. Thank you so much, and see you soon. Bye.
Beautiful.